Hi guys, welcome to another episode of Daniliants Ventures podcast. Today I have a pleasure of talking to Fintan Costello from BonusFinder.com, and today we have a really interesting topic: affiliate marketing. Affiliate marketing can be an amazing opportunity for companies to promote their product, but there are a lot of misinformation on the internet. So I thought, hey, why not bring somebody in who actually knows, well, maybe everything, maybe most of the things we need to know about affiliate marketing, and just, talk shop and talk about affiliate marketing, how you can leverage it, what it is, and maybe Fintan can share some of his successes and failures so we can learn from them. So thank you very much, Fintan, for being here, and welcome to the podcast.
Thank you very much for having me, Artem. I'm very excited.
All right, so maybe you can tell a little bit about yourself. What do you do? And,
Sure.
When it comes to affiliate marketing, especially, like, what have you done
Of course.
previously?
So when it comes to affiliate marketing, I've actually sat on both sides of the table. So my entry into the gambling industry was to run the online marketing department for an Irish company called Paddy Power, who've since become part of the biggest online gambling group in the world. As part of my team, we had the affiliate team. So affiliate marketing's very, very important in the gambling space. So my introduction to affiliates was the guy signing the checks. So you're kind of looking at, like, oh, we've got 1,000 affiliates. These 100 guys do all the business, and these 5 guys are making 6-7 figures a month type stuff. So wow. It was amazing to see just the kind of the distribution. Obviously got to know a lot of the affiliates during my time there, and super smart guys, very hardworking, and there was a lot of things going on there, and we can touch on those in a bit. I moved marketing roles, so eventually I've kind of come full circle, and now I'm the affiliate. So I'm part of a much bigger team. We run BonusFinder.com, so it's a bonus comparison website. We're very focused on the US market, so we're licensed to operate in the US. I think we've got about 12 licenses at this stage. US is obviously very fast growing, but we operate in other countries, so the UK, Italy, all over the world. We've got a bunch of different websites, and we've got offices around the world. We've got a big team. We're up to about 35 staff now. Wow. We're growing fast. Things are good. We're having fun. But the key thing is we're delivering great value to our users. So that's the most important bit. So from an affiliate perspective, I've sat on both sides of the table, so I can really sympathize with the marketing managers who are under pressure to hit their KPIs, and I also sympathize with the affiliates dealing with some of the marketing managers who don't quite get it. So I think this is a great topic.
Wonderful. Thank you. So you mentioned already, like, the key word there was gambling. Mm-hmm. So, obviously when it comes to gambling, many opportunities that are available to a normal, for example, e-commerce, are not available to a gambling company, sure. Right? I mean, when we talk, the way that I understand it, and please correct me if I'm wrong, it's all about affiliate marketing, and it's all about the SEO, getting the traffic from search engines, working with affiliates, and you're not able to leverage many of the traditional paid channels. So you cannot just set up marketing campaign in Google Ads and so forth. So, or how does that work?
It really depends on the country. So gambling is obviously a very regulated industry. So as an operator, so as a casino or a sports betting website, mm-hmm. They would have a very different experience in the UK, which is a regulated mm-hmm. market where licenses are issued, versus, say, Finland, where you've got a state monopoly, but then you've also got a lot of offshore brands targeting Finns because Finns like to gamble. So mm-hmm. they're two very, very different scenarios. Within the industry, there's kind of the term they use is like white markets versus grey markets. Mm-hmm. So if in the UK, you can absolutely do Google AdWords, you can run Facebook, but you have to be licensed and approved by Google or Facebook. Mm-hmm. You can mm-hmm. run TV ads, you can buy newspaper ads, they sponsor sports and stuff like that. So it's shirt sponsors, things like that. In Finland, it would be like, I'll just take Finland as the example, it will be a very different experience, right? So you would have affiliates would be very important, SEO would be very important. But then if you look at what a lot of the brands do, they do a lot of sponsorships. So you sponsor a guy to drive a Porsche up a mountain, and you put your logo on the side of the car. So there's a lot more brand experience type things. They'll also do tricks around, say, TV advertising. So it could be advertising on TV channels that are international, but are watched by. So I think Eurosport's a good example for Finland. So there's you get very good at working around the edges of things. You can also do display advertising. So probably quite a lot of adult websites or torrenting websites would have quite a lot of gambling ads because they're gambling friendly. So there is, but then also sports, any just general sports website or websites blokes go to. But affiliates would be, regardless of the country, affiliates are a very, very important part of the mix. And that was one of the big things I learned at Paddy Power was, because I was looking at the guys, because it was this really, is it the Pareto principle, like where there's...
Yeah.
So, but it wasn't even like the 80-20.
20% of the, 80% of the result you get from the 20% of effort or something like that.
Exactly right. So it wasn't even that of an even...
It was maybe 5%, right? Or a few percent.
Like there was probably five guys that mattered, right?
Okay.
But when you looked at... So obviously I had a lot of time to sit there and see how much money they were making, and it was very new to me. I at the time, like I was more a digital marketer, but I hadn't gone near affiliate marketing, and it kind of blew my mind. But then when you looked at what they did and what they did really well, there was kind of a couple of things, but when you combined them, you created magic. So they all had some sort of value-added service. So they were doing something that was providing value to the customer or to their user. And then they either had really good SEO or they had a really strong community. Some of them had all three. Some of them only had two. But as long as you had at least two, you had a good business. And there's some great examples, like a lot of the guys out there, like say the odds checkers or OLBG and stuff in the UK, or Better Collective even, like they're still huge today. So that kind of longevity over say the last 15 years is insane when you think about it. Particularly given how competitive affiliate marketing is. And I think this is something that affiliate managers don't realize, is that anybody, like there's no barrier to entry, right? So let's ignore the gambling industry. So let's just take general e-commerce.
In general, yeah.
So if we want to sell podcasting microphones and we want to be the world's biggest podcasting microphone affiliate today, me and you, we could go start right now. And it doesn't matter who the incumbent is, it doesn't matter who the big comparison website is or whatever, we can go come up with a great idea and go for it. So there's no barriers to entry. So what you end up with, and I mean this in the nicest possible way, but you do end up with your classic million monkeys at a million typewriters. And somebody's going to figure something out that's amazing and is going to work for their niche, for their vertical. So there's always people who are going to disrupt your business as an affiliate. The competition is relentless, and every day as an affiliate, you've got to wake up and basically beat the internet, and that's tough, right? That's super. Now I've aged, but I do enjoy the challenge. But I do this because it's difficult, not because it's easy. But if I think a lot of marketers or affiliate managers tend to forget this because they just see the 1% or the 5% that are doing really well, and they look at these guys, they seem pretty relaxed and they're making lots of money. They've got an easy life. When actually, if your business, if you lose your rankings or your traffic source or whatever it is, that affiliate manager is not going to pick up the telephone to you anymore. You're only as good as the traffic you can send them. So it is a very difficult thing to do, but obviously hugely rewarding from it's exciting. You've got to keep thinking, you've got to keep planning, and I'm worrying about stuff we're going to be doing in 6 months' time. So that's really good as well. So anyway, so I kind of went a little bit off topic there, but that's a little bit about me.
No. It was really good. So a few things that come to mind right away is when you think about affiliate marketing, right? The underpinning scheme is very simple. You pay upon result delivered, right? That's like the whole idea. So for example, if you're doing Facebook advertising, right, you're paying for clicks, and those clicks might convert and actually become paying customers, or they might not. In affiliate marketing, you're paying substantially more, but only when result is delivered. So you could be paying 20, 30, 50% maybe commission on that purchase. But if there is no purchase, you don't have any associated costs. I guess that's how it looks like if you look at it, without knowing the details. Obviously, you still have to have people outreaching, right? There are still costs, but from the pragmatic perspective, basically no results, no costs.
So the big benefit is it removes the risk. So if you're a big company or if you're a small company, it doesn't really matter. You've got a fixed marketing budget, and there's the old advertising joke about I'm not sure which 50% of my marketing actually works. Yeah. Well, you're definitely sure which bit of your affiliate marketing is working. So what it does is particularly, like, it's very attractive to startups or to companies that need to scale up quickly, because they can put in a number and say, well, we're willing to pay X for Y delivery. Can you make that happen? So on one level, it's very straightforward. Where I think it goes wrong, and I'll talk about the brands themselves first. So I think where it goes wrong in the brands is because it's so simple on paper, they take it for granted. So we don't have a magic wand. We can't make miracles happen. If people don't like your brand, if your website sucks, if your checkout process sucks, if you don't have the right payment methods, if your customer support was slow to do things, then if your conversion funnel sucks, it doesn't matter what affiliates you're working with. Yeah, it's not going to work. And then what happens is, if you look at it from the affiliate's perspective, at the end of the day, they're sending traffic, so they're effectively selling clicks. So I could send you 100 clicks, or I could send your competitor 100 clicks. I'm going to look at those clicks. I'm going to look at how much revenue I'm getting back, and I'm going to calculate a revenue per clicks score effectively. And whoever's winning is going to get 200 clicks next month.
So it's the numbers game. Basically, there is very little loyalty in it. You're in it to make money, obviously, and maybe you have some established relationship with some of the managers. But in the end, if one,
it's not. Yeah. It's obviously there's if let's say your competitor is a really bad brand and is going to abuse the customers or not deliver what they say they're going to do, or if there's anything that we're worried about, of course they're not going to get the clicks. But just assuming all other things being equal, of course we have to revenue optimize. So it's really important for brands that want to work with honestly, the affiliates are the best people to ask for feedback. So some of the best brands we work with will ring us up and say, hey, we're looking at entering this new market. What do you guys know? Do you have any insights? What can we do? And we'll walk them through the checklist of things that they need, be it payment methods, or like we've got people on the ground so we can help them test their SMS verifications, or are the emails going through? Do they read correctly in the right language? Look at their landing pages. Like, we spend all day long worrying about this. So it's taking advantage of the free consultancy is also really, really good. So you should do that because it's in the affiliate's best interest as well. So if I can help you improve your conversion funnel percentage points, that also
benefits you as well. Of course,
and it's a win-win situation. So there's definitely some things there, but it's a very simple equation. And for the affiliate managers to get the best out of, or for marketing managers to get the best out of affiliates as a channel, being really good on your conversion funnels, being really good on your reporting. We're always going to preference people that have got live reporting. If we can use a postback URL so we can pull it into our system, and if we can optimize these clicks even better, that's great for us. So we'll always prioritize that. How fast are we getting paid? Like, if we've got to chase you for money, and it happens. So there's a big bunch of basic things you can do that you should be doing anyway, that really help turbocharge the affiliate channel.
Okay. So, you sold me on the whole affiliate marketing. You've done a really good job. Let's imagine I have an e-commerce store, right? And I'm selling something that has, margin that can easily withstand, paying commission that is, let's say, 20-30% or even maybe more.
Sure.
So how do I get started, right? I mean, I have maybe web shop on Shopify or WooCommerce, and I'm interested in affiliate marketing. I want to leverage that, and I'm willing to, work with affiliates. I'm willing to invest into making changes to my website, working on the funnel. But how do I get started as a company? What prerequisites do I need, and do I go just searching for bloggers in my space and offer them a coupon and then pay them every month a commission on every single coupon used, or how does that look like?
I would always start with the data. So I would get my tracking set up properly, because without the tracking, you're running blind. And let's come back to coupons for a second, because that opens up a whole range of issues. So just straight up, like making sure I've got a really good Google Analytics implementation. The second,
so I have e-commerce tracking set up. I have Google Tag Manager set up. I have remarketing set up. I have maybe some backend analytics and so forth.
How good is it's like making sure, your remarketing set up. How good is your CRM? Just getting the basics in place is super important. The second thing once I've done that, I would then look at affiliate tracking software, because even if it's only 5 affiliates that you say launch with or you end up working with, they all want creative, tracking links, reporting. If you're the one doing that, the second you take a screenshot out of Google Analytics, they've already stopped caring, right?
They're like, okay, this guy is just not on the same level.
It's just amateur.
It's gonna be a pain in the ass.
Yeah.
I don't want to work with him. So basically, I can go for some ready-made solutions, right? Some platforms, there are zillions of them, right?
So there's the really big ones, like the kind of the marketplaces, like a Trade Doubler or an A-Win or Impact. There's also kind of the more do-it-yourself, so like a Post Affiliate Pro. There's a lot of off-the-shelf solutions you can do. So you don't have to go for a big, expensive solution. There is really straightforward ones that work perfectly fine.
And if I have something like WooCommerce or Shopify, there's probably a plugin or an application that I can just install.
They'll have integrated with these a billion times, so it'll be click, 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 and you're done. So I wouldn't worry about that. I would then look at things like, okay, what cookie duration do we want to attribute for? I would look at my competitors, and I would see how much they're paying. So
can you maybe explain a little bit about the cookie duration?
So there's a lot of affiliate marketing is still based on click attribution. So this is like your traditional affiliate tracking link. User clicks on it, a cookie gets stored. What can happen is the user could convert in that session and buy your widget, or maybe they've looked at it, they go back to Google, they read some reviews, they do some comparison shopping, but then they come back to you again, say the same day or say 20 days later, or whatever the period is. If the cookie is set, you can pick a duration on the cookie. So how long is this cookie valid for? Sometimes it can be session based, so it's just for as long as you're on the website for the first time. Other times it can be like 100 days. You can then attribute success to the affiliate that set that cookie. And then so if the user does convert 20 days later, the affiliate still gets credit for the sale because it was the affiliate who introduced that visitor to your product and to your website. What can also happen then is if the user then clicks another affiliate's link in the meantime, it's kind of the last click attribution. So the affiliate, whoever the last click was, gets the sale. The smarter guys will also have what they call an assist. So if they see that there's 2 cookies, they'll see that Fintan was the introducer, but Artem was the closer. So Fintan will also get a little bit of credit for being part of the sales funnel.
But basically, all the platforms probably have something in there that you can set it up. All of it is, even though it sounds a bit more technical, all the platforms already have like ready-made solutions for it. So you just have to decide.
You just decide how long you want it to be, and you click go, and the system takes care of you. So that's super easy. I would then do a competitor benchmark. There's nothing more embarrassing than when an affiliate manager rings you up and they make you their great offer, and you're off, like the market rate is here and you're way down here off the screen in terms
of... I offer 5% and everybody else offers 50, and I'm like, okay, that's embarrassing.
Yeah, you're just not going to, like, nothing's going to, like, it's not even worth sending you clicks. It's not even that. It's not even worth the hassle of the paperwork and the admin to get you live on the website. You really need to make sure you're credible. So I'd make sure, understand that. I'd look at their creative. I'd look at their landing pages. I would look at, like, is there anything extra that they're doing? And then you've got the basics in place. So that's kind of table stakes, right? So you're allowed to sit down at the table now for a conversation. Obviously, money is important. So, like, your commission structure is important. What's more important is your conversion rates. So I could offer an affiliate, say, 30% revenue share, and you're offering 50% or whatever the deal is. But if my conversion rate is 90% and yours is 5%, they'll always make more money from me.
Yeah.
All right. So there's always, money's always important, but it's money times conversion rate. So it all goes back to that revenue per click. Like, that's the ultimate metric. So really kind of testing your funnels and making sure your conversion funnels are on point is super, super important. Because at the end of the day, if you can't convert the traffic, you're not going to get the traffic.
Yeah, there's no point sending you the traffic if it's going to just bounce back.
Exactly. What I would do then is I would try and find, I probably wouldn't start with the biggest people. So, like, there's always going to be, whatever vertical you're in, there's always, like, the couple of absolute giants. And they'll show up and there'll be a sales team and they'll have a PowerPoint and they're going to charge you a load of money up front because they're really good at what they do and they know you need them more than they need you. I would probably start with some of the mid-tier guys. So these are guys who are, they know what they're doing. They've got a good business. But they're not arrogant yet. Not yet, right? And I call it the receptionist test. So they don't have a receptionist. So once an affiliate has a receptionist, it's a very different relationship. Yeah. So I would look at those guys first because they're probably going to be, you're probably more likely to be speaking with the owners are probably more hands-on. They're running the business. And a lot of affiliate marketing is relationship based. So if you talk to any great affiliate manager, it's as much about their relationships that they've built up over time. And it really is, relationship is still key. Business is still personal. Between people, not between CMS systems. Exactly. And like we can do business through spreadsheets. But if it's somebody who's easy to deal with, if it's their response, like from my perspective, if they're easy to deal with, they're polite, they're responsive. If something goes wrong and things do go wrong, they own it and get it sorted. You know, like the just basic kind of, it sounds silly to say, but it can be, you'd be surprised. Of course. So I would, try and build some relationships. These guys probably get 1 million emails a day. So really thinking, okay, how can I connect with them? Maybe I can find them on LinkedIn. Maybe I can find them on Twitter. Maybe email's not the best. Maybe I could meet them at an event. There's a lot of affiliate events. There's a lot of is there networking places? Yeah. Do you know somebody who could do an introduction? Could you take them for lunch, have a chat? So I would really try and make that connection, and be upfront and say, look, we're, like you said, like we're a new brand. We want to get into affiliates. I want to ask you a question. Really show that you want to do a good job, and I think and then obviously deliver on whatever you promise. Of course. So that's kind of how I would get started. But if, for example, let's say, so basically, if I summarize a bit, so I have to make sure my funnel works. Yeah.
So that's like I shouldn't. So if I have a Shopify store that I created in during weekend, it doesn't mean that I'm ready to do affiliate marketing. I should be. How should I say? I should already have the data-driven mindset already in place. I should be understanding like where my funnel is good, where I need some improvements, what is the customer acquisition cost, what is my CTRs, all of that stuff. So I have to know the lingo. I have to understand what works, what doesn't. And now that my funnel is working well, and I'm confident that it's working well, and I have a good offering for affiliates, and I have affiliate tracking in place, and I understand how it works, and I've done some benchmarking, I understand how my competitors are using affiliates, maybe I can now start hunting, for affiliates. But where do I find them? So if I'm selling, I don't know, if I sell, for example, like hiking equipment, right? So I can, for me, the easiest would be to go to a platform, right? Like to platform like CG.com, Trade Trouble, and all that.
I wouldn't start there.
Yeah, but again, where do I find those? I had experience. For example, one of the customers, so they actually just reached out to a blogger who wrote a review about them anyway, and they set up a affiliate kind of like a deal, commission sharing and so forth, and it worked amazingly. But they got lucky. I mean, in a way, because he reached out to them. But if you are not waiting to get lucky, how do you find the right people? Like, what would be the tools? Maybe like what would be your first steps?
So honestly, it really in my view, it's very simple. So let's say we're selling hiking equipment. So what are my key products? So it's going to be tents, hiking boots, whatever. So let's say it's tents. I would type in camping tent review. Camping tent comparison, maybe pick some of my big products. So let's say I've got I don't know, I'm trying to think of a brand, a North Face 2-man tent review or whatever the product name is. Put that into Google and just see what shows up. So I take a bunch of queries that a potential customer would put into Google, and then I would see what would show up. So obviously you're going to have the e-commerce listings, and you're going to have some other bits and pieces. And then I would look at the organic listings. And maybe even some of the paid listings as well could be affiliates. There's a lot of PPC affiliates. And I would just take all of those websites and I would have just a big look through them. Read the content. Is it proper? Like, is it actually written by somebody who's seen this tent and used this tent, or is it like a fake kind of thing? So I'd kind of read through the website and I'd create a short list from there, and then I would outreach there. My fear with the networks, and I've had a little bit of experience in this in the past, is that there's a great sales presentation and that they'll tell you we've got 20,000 affiliates and they're all super keen to promote you, and you go through a massive technical integration process that takes way longer than they promised, and then you're live and maybe they've sent an email out to the database that's completely untargeted and tumbleweed. And then you're sitting there as the affiliate manager and they've just given you a big data dump of 1,000 websites, and you're just clicking through the websites trying to find somebody who you can work with. Where you could have saved all yourself that hassle with 50 Google searches and just gone directly. And as well, with the benefit with directly is you're not paying the network their cut of whatever the transaction fee.
How much is that usually?
I haven't. It can be 15-20% of the commission bill, I believe. Now, obviously, depending on size and scale, you can negotiate.
Of course,
plus integration costs and whatever else you need to do. So, and there's probably a software fee or a minimum guarantee. So it can be pricey, but you could just pass that straight. Like, either that can go into building better creative. It can go straight into your affiliates pocket with better deals, and just kind of cutting out the middlemen. It's typically quite easy to find the top 20 affiliates for your vertical with a few Google searches. Or look at communities, so Facebook groups or YouTube channels, or like just what would a shopper put into any of these tools or platforms or networks, or where would they hang out online? So like if it's Bitcoin, you'd go look at Bitcoin Talk and see what's going on over there or whatever, right? So like where would they hang out online, or what are they reading that's related to the product or to their hobby that they're interested in? And it's very easy then to find how to contact somebody to just talk about advertising.
And okay, I now have an Excel spreadsheet, and everybody loves Excel. So I have in Excel a huge spreadsheet. I asked my colleague to do some serious work and have some really good, solid websites. How can I know if they even do affiliate marketing? So should I search websites that have affiliate tracking links, or like what would be the
so there's two
the sign?
So if they're already doing affiliate marketing, it's actually easier for you because you don't have to explain.
They know the game. You speak the same language. They understand. They're on the same wavelength with you.
Exactly. So it can be. I think what I have seen happen before is with publishers who don't do affiliate marketing, they underestimate becoming an affiliate, how difficult it actually is. Mm-hmm. And even though they've got they'll show you the Google Analytics and they've got hundreds of thousands of visitors and we'll make a fortune from this is fantastic, but just the nuance of the intent that their users have versus the intent that's required to buy, it can be two very different. So there's kind of like browsing for interest, or like I'm actively shopping and I want to buy something today. I've got my credit card in my hand. And they're two very kind of lean back and lean forward type attitudes. So, and the easiest thing to do is like look at a review page or look at something on the website, hover over all the links, see if you can see any tracking parameters. It can be quite easy to spot. Or there's like, I think there's tools out there that'll show you. There's probably browser plugins and stuff that'll do the same for you. So I would prioritize the guys who are already doing it for speed, but like you said, your friend example with or your client's example with the blogger where they got really lucky. Loads of those exist as well, and a lot of it will be down to the relationship, and a lot of it will be down to your experience as a marketer, helping them maybe reposition things slightly, or could you maybe optimize for some of these search terms too, or like get your users thinking in this kind of way or this type of content. So working closely with them can be a great way. And because you've had that relationship from day one with them, as they grow and stuff as well, you grow with them, and there is that kind of long-term trust. So we will always prioritize people we've had a 5-10 year track record with. Just because that trust has been built up over time, that's super important.
And since you mentioned my example as well, so actually, they set up a deal with the blogger where they gave to all of his readers a coupon code with a discount, 10% discount, and for every single coupon code used, they paid 10% to the blogger as well, right? So kickback basically from all the sales. And you kind of smirked a little bit when I mentioned coupon, and you're like, let's come back to that. So would that be a good time to come back to the coupon?
I don't know about you, but I know when I'm in a checkout process and I see that coupon field, it's an instant new tab, brand name, coupon, Google search.
Or you use something like Honey or other coupon aggregators, right?
And now 90% of the time I can't find a coupon. But I've definitely found coupons. So you're triggering people to just do that one final search. So if I was your client, I would make sure I optimized I would have a page dedicated to that brand name and the coupon, just to try and see if I could pick up some of that traffic. It's an ongoing battle. It's an ongoing discussion. There are some good checkout solutions where it's not so obvious. Some checkout solutions really bash you over the head with, like, it just makes you feel like an idiot if you're not putting in a coupon.
I know the feeling.
So look, it's a known affiliate tactic. I get it. There's massive websites dedicated to this, and they just scrape every possible brand name and whatever. So there's a big business behind it for a reason.
Yeah, but if you think about it, coupon code doesn't have to be so obvious, right? It could be coupon code can be just used to facilitate the attribution. It can be part of the email, and it automatically applies the coupon code.
You can do it. You can do it through the cookie. You can do it with a custom landing page. So anything that comes through this custom landing page, you get credit for. The cookie is the neatest way to do it because it's out of the way. But it's really then making sure that if the blogger is talking about this 10% discount, if I click that link, I see the 10% discount, and then I see it all the way through the checkout process. And that's where a lot of brands go wrong, because it's like the big reveal at the end. But if you click through and you start, but he said a discount, where's my discount? You're already confused, and
you need to display that right away. I get it.
But and what's hilarious about this is it's so obvious, and so many people don't do it. So there's so many, like the way I look at all of this is digital marketing is so much about doing the basics really, really, really well. And it's not about because look, we've all got low attention thresholds. That's why we're in marketing. It's not about the big shiny campaign and the new tool and the new tech and the new plan. Oh my God, we've got to go sort out our TikTok strategy. Yeah, that's great. Go do that if you've got the basics in place.
Yeah.
And this just do the basics really well is my big plea to everybody.
Yeah, I have same issues with my customers where we're talking about maybe a blogger outreach campaign, but the title of the homepage is homepage. Yeah. So they haven't even done some basic SEO audits, and that would be money well spent compared to anything else. But when it comes to coupons, I actually found out there is a very good example. Pipedrive, a CRM system that is very popular in Estonia. They actually noticed that a lot of people were searching for Pipedrive coupon codes, and they created their own landing page. And when you search for Pipedrive coupon code, you actually go to their page, and they say, "Wow, we like smart people who search for coupons and search for discounts. Here's a discount for you. Enjoy. And great that you are considering Pipedrive. So you can actually use that to your advantage because people are searching for those coupon codes. But you mentioned cookie on many occasions, and cookies are going away. I mean, it seems that there's a lot of hate for cookies, and third-party cookies are blocked nowadays by default in some browsers. Ad block is installed on most, of course not most, but let's say 20 to 40%, desktop browsers have ad block installed in one way or another. And then obviously Apple came up with this whole privacy solution that prevents tracking, and Facebook, made a big scene about it. So what's happening? How can we make sure that there are still attributions and affiliate marketing still works if it heavily relies on cookies?
Now, I'm not a tech expert, so I don't want to. Basically, some of your listeners will be pulling their hair out if I start pontificating on this, because they're like, "Oh, he's completely wrong." Yes, is the short answer. It's getting more complicated, but it's also still very simple. So most affiliate tracking solutions is first-party cookies. Okay. Yes, brands can get blocked by ad blockers. So we do try and keep an eye on kind of blacklists just to make sure. But realistically, it shows up in our revenues per click numbers, and it's the merchant's problem, and they need to figure it out. We'll just send the traffic elsewhere. So we can be quite how would you put it? If it's the same with Google updates and Facebook policy changes and this happening. You could. I've been in the industry. I've been doing digital marketing for so long now. I could. There's always a crisis. There's always
of course, cookie crisis, and
this is dead, and that's dead, and this and that.
Google Penguin update and whatnot.
Whatever, right? So there's always a thing, and a lot of it's an echo chamber of people trying to sell stuff. So kind of filtering the signal from the noise is a important job for any marketer. I'm being open. Obviously, there's always new. I'm being open to things, but in my view, look, I'm not losing any sleep over it. it's fine. If cookies are really dead, people still want to buy traffic, and we'll find out a solution. Something will happen. Have people gone too far with third-party tracking? Yeah, absolutely. Data collection is ridiculous. Like I installed a F-Secure on my phone recently, and it's just the amount of stuff it's blocked in like a 24-hour period is ridiculous. And I didn't even use my phone much that day. And it's like, oh, okay, that's pretty interesting. So yeah, there's lots going on. If I was a DMP, I'd be very worried. If I was a big ad network, I'd be very worried. For your typical affiliate and your typical advertiser, look, all your money was like, from an advertising perspective, all your money is going to Google and Facebook anyway. It just means it's really all going to Google and Facebook anyway now, because they've still got the data, because they've got the first party data. It's everybody else who's in trouble. These new Apple things, it just means Apple's search ads are more valuable now.
Apple search ads.
They're just way more valuable than they were 6 weeks ago or 6 months ago. So it's just bigger walled gardens, which I'm never a fan of. But there you go.
Yeah, but I guess there are always ways to track. You can do back-end tracking, right? There will be solutions.
Always.
Somebody will come in and sell you something that will allow you to still continue doing business as usual. Exactly. You will just have to maybe fork some cash for it. I'm sure there'll be something like fingerprinting, like browser fingerprinting and whatnot. There are solutions.
There really is, but it could just go back. Hey, we're all using coupon codes again. But
that would be the day.
But this is the thing. It's really about, from our perspective, if we're delivering great value to our users, they're going to come back to our website. If we do have to go like exclusively on coupon codes, because they're coming to us for a reason, we're giving them what they need, we're giving them the coupons, we're helping them on their journey, we'll be fine. So from an affiliate's perspective, it's really about, don't forget about, like, it's quite easy to just focus on the money bit, but it's actually all about the user, because you're one of 5 billion websites doing the exact same thing. Why have they chosen you? That's really important. So always putting the user, and I know it's everyone always put the user first. I get that's a very easy thing to say, but it takes a lot of courage, and that's the hard bit.
But if you think about it, like some people have association like with affiliate marketers, is that they just create a junk website, use text generation to just write some absolute BS text and try to rank as high as they can for a specific keyword, and then give that traffic to the highest bidder. So obviously it's been at some point like this. There have been times where you didn't have to put so much effort into creating an affiliate website, but nowadays I think it's all about providing value, and it actually takes a lot of work. So you mentioned how many people you have working for you now?
I think we're up to 35, and we're hiring more.
Okay, nice. Congrats. That's awesome. I'm glad to hear it. Obviously, you're doing much better on this side of the table, right? Compared to the other side of the table where you were actually paying affiliates.
Well, Paddy Power was a big company, so there was thousands of staff and stuff. So it was very different stuff.
Okay.
But no, good.
Yeah, but you personally, I mean.
Oh well, look, I'm one of there's a big team. There's a big team.
Okay, good. So what I'm trying to say is that it actually takes a lot of effort. So so many people, for example, who I know who became affiliate marketers are people who actually were selling SEO business to companies, like SEO consulting and all that. And at some point they realized, like, why am I doing for them? I could do it for myself. And then all of a sudden next year you see them and they're driving Porsche, and doing really damn well. So
just to be clear, I've got a second-hand VW Polo.
Okay. No. I wasn't pointing fingers. No way. I'm just saying that once you know how to generate traffic, you know how to create value online and so forth, it kind of becomes natural to just do affiliate marketing and start earning some money with it, with your skills that you have. For example, one of my employees actually left my company because his affiliate business started to take off. He had a few websites and he kind of did it as a part-time job, and so forth. And at some point he just told me, well, Artem, things are really good. They're like really, really good. So I think I'm going to quit. And I was really happy for him. But he was like a SEO wizard, He like knew what he was doing, and he just was grinding at it for about 3 years before he was able to completely substitute his income.
And I think that so well done to him. I think that's fantastic to hear. And I think that 3 years is the magic bit. So regardless of his SEO skills, for me, we're big believers in consistency over time as one of our biggest advantages. So, we're thinking about the next 10 years. We're a private company, so we don't have to, we've got competitors who are publicly listed. So they've got to do quarterly.
They're really big.
Yeah, huge guys. Great guys, super guys. But they've got to do a quarterly earnings call. So they're really some of them can take a longer term view, but the markets are fickle. And well, what have you done for me this quarter? What are you going to do for me the next 6 months? So being able to take a longer term view of things is super important, and being able to write out the variance is very important as an affiliate. It's also like the time and perspective also, because one of the biggest issues with being an affiliate is counterparty risk. So if one of your advertisers that you work with decides not to pay you, right, that's one of your biggest risks, and that happens. They've run out of funding, they've gone bust, they've overpromised, they decide they're not going to pay you. These things happen. And nobody really talks about that as well. So the advantage of time is it does help you build up that experience. It does take time to build up traffic and understanding, okay, these brands convert really well, these ones don't. That's a good deal, that's a bad deal. So, but it's something that because it can be, like you said, it's the Porsche example is kind of the stereotype.
Yeah.
But there's the million guys who have probably really good SEO skills as well, who aren't driving Porsches. So there is the winners, but it's a bit like when you look at hedge funds. Right? You only see the hedge funds that survive. You don't see the ones that blow up. And I do think slow and steady and boring over time is the trick. If anybody's sitting there going, I should do affiliates, could you do this for 5 years before you saw $1? Because that could happen very easily.
Yeah. So the way that I think about it, and I'm actually thinking of, obviously I have some projects going on and so forth, and I want to learn by doing. That's the way that I learn myself personally. So I'm thinking, hey, I could start a blog and I could write about things that I'm very passionate, about. So I'm an office supplies nut. Like that's my shtick. I love the pens. I love all the supplies, and I have like 5 billion post-it notes, different types, transparent and whatnot, and so forth. So if I have passion for something, I could write about it, I could create videos and so forth. Wouldn't that be kind of like, if I wanted to try affiliate marketing, I wasn't sure, I should maybe pick a topic that I'm very passionate about already, topic that I can write about, I can, discover latest trends, and I can talk with my peers and so forth, and maybe start there. Because if I'm grinding away, if I'm passionate about the topic, that will be easier. Because many times affiliate marketers, they're selling these courses, like, hey, become an affiliate marketer. It's same BS as with drop shipping, make, 6 figures by drop shipping crap from China or something like that. So many times affiliate marketers, they say like, hey, you need to find your niche, you need to understand, where's the biggest payout and start grinding there. So if I am, if I want to learn affiliate marketing, I want to, test it out, test my skills, and I'm alone. So I don't have a huge team like you do. and you have a rather small team compared to some of the biggest, right, affiliate companies. So where should I start?
Okay, so you've got two routes. Route one is exactly what you said. If it's something you're interested in, and you can take it to a super nerdy level.
Yeah.
Right?
Like really nerdy.
Mega, like there's a website, so I do a lot of running and stuff. So there's a guy called DC Rainmaker.
Oh, I know him.
Right? The level of detail
he's awesome.
He puts into, say, if I want to buy the latest Garmin watch, I will go to his blog and I will read his review, because I know this will be the most unbiased, comprehensive, in-depth review of this €700 watch on the internet, hands down.
Yeah.
And he's done that over time, and he's phenomenal at what he does, right? And he's built a good business off that, and he deserves every bit of success he gets.
I think he does affiliate marketing as
well.
Yeah,
he
right?
does.
I mean, that's his main source of income. Yeah.
But he'll also do. But then he's so big now as well. I think when there's new product, like he'll get.
Yeah, he does like sponsored content and so forth. But I think he's pretty open and transparent about it.
Super transparent about it. And he's built a loyal audience around that. So that's route one, and that'd be my preference. However, if you're a little bit of a pirate, you're a little bit of a mercenary, you don't really care, then
you're just in it for the money.
You're just in it for the money. You're in it for the Lambo, right? Where's my Lambo?
Yeah.
So what I would look at then is, I would look personally. So my checklist would be, has to be a high margin product. Ideally, one where I don't have to talk to anybody, and the level of sophistication of either the competition or the advertisers from a digital perspective is low. Okay, because what that means is I'm in the gambling industry, so not only am I competing against every affiliate who are all absolute, killers and are brilliant at what they do, we're also competing against every gambling firm. Some of them will have,
because they're marketing as well.
Some of them will have like teams of 200 people doing SEO. They'll have budgets of hundreds of millions in marketing budget. So the level of sophistication is through the roof. If you can find a business where the level of sophistication, so a lot of small business, like it's kind of, I'm trying to think of an example, like construction related things or handymen, or there's a lot of industries or businesses or products where there isn't an Amazon for it, or there's a few, but just look at the level of sophistication, look at the marketing budgets. Do they really get the internet, or are they still kind of in an old school, you've got to come to the store to buy this product or service? And then it's quite easy to create a benchmarking score of verticals or products and kind of go, okay, there's enough margin where I can get paid. Because if it's a really tight margin product, like if you take even something like a high ticket item like a car, like the profit margin on a car is tiny, because it's all about the financing, it's all about selling you the extras. And computer equipment, very, very tight margins. But then there's lots of other products where there's huge margins.
Digital products, for example, right?
Digital products are a great example of this. Supplements are a great example of this. But then I would say that the level of sophistication for, say, something like supplements or digital products, well, the digital products is different because it depends on the product.
It depends. It's a very, it's a huge industry. I mean, there can be anything from editing software to weight loss software.
So looking then at your competitor set and kind of scoring them on a how good are they basis. How good are the merchants themselves, the advertisers themselves as well. And then it's quite easy to stack up 20 different products and kind of score them and say, okay, we're going to start with this one. So that'd be the more mercenary type route. But I would look for the most boring thing on that list. Like literally, so many years ago, I had so on your desk, you've probably got a hole in your desk for the cables to come through it.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
There's probably a little plastic thing in that hole. That's called a cable grommet. Okay.
Okay.
So here's a great story. Years ago, when I lived in Dublin, there was a guy manufacturing cable grommets, and he was about a kilometer from where I lived. And old school, he would go directly to, say, electricians or furniture guys and sell them, like with a catalog, and literally sell them stuff. Yeah. I bought a website, an exact match domain, threw up a very simple website, did some basic SEO. And all of a sudden, I'm the cable grommet king of Europe. And one of my biggest regrets in life is I actually sold the business to him, because he couldn't understand. I was literally just classic. I was just sending the orders directly through him. He was shipping them on my behalf. I was charging a massive premium, and he couldn't understand where all the business,
what's going on,
all this business came from.
But he's happy, right? I mean, he's getting orders left and right, so he's like, keep doing.
But he's also a bit like, well, why aren't I doing it? There's always a little bit of greed.
Okay.
Right?
Oh yeah.
So, but a lovely guy, really, really nice guy, and he had a great business. But it was so boring. It's so niche. You could have Europe to yourself. Like, it was that easy. So I would always add a boring index and then add more points for how, like, weight loss or forex trading or crypto. Like, they're all kind of sexy kind of type stuff. But
they're way too hot. Yes. I mean, they're way too hot. I mean, everybody my mother-in-law, called me and told me, like, hey, did you know that now you can make money out of thin air? Put your computer on a balcony and just it does something and it creates money. And I'm like, okay, when my mother-in-law says that, then it's overhyped. The Bitcoin is way overhyped. So I think you are absolutely correct. I mean, construction, space heaters, maybe some things like oils for the car, whatever that is, something that is very boring, something very basic, right?
But then go super nerdy on it. So, like, if you think of stuff here, like, think of the mats you put in your car, right? For your feet, right? So, but then it's like, okay, making it easy for them to find the make and model, the different styles. You're bringing stuff in from America. You're custom print. Go super nerdy on it, and then just be the king of it or the queen of it.
Yeah.
But it has to be so boring nobody else would even consider doing it. Would be my dream scenario.
So can you tell me a little bit about your own project now? So what do you do? And you mentioned that you are now on the other side of the table. Sure. So what does your company do in
Yeah, sure. So BonusFinder.com. We are a gambling affiliate. So we're a gambling comparison website. We're primarily focused on casinos, and our promise to our users is to help people play with more. So the way our website's designed is, and the way our filtering and our search functionality works, is it doesn't matter if you've got $10 or €10 or whatever your currencies it's play with, we'll help you find the best possible value for that €10. So you'll get the best gameplay, the most spins, the most game time that you can. And then obviously if you show up with 50, 100, 1,000, we'll also show you the best things for that, for your favorite games and stuff. So it's really helping everybody, no matter what their level is, find safe places to play where they get the best possible value for money. So it's really simple. It's helping people have more fun.
So basically you work with casinos and other companies, right? But isn't there a bias and you're promoting ones that paying the most, or how does that work? I mean, that's obviously a touchy subject.
It's something every affiliate needs to grapple with. Many years ago I worked for Google, and one of the things that was always drummed into us is that our competition is just a click away. Yeah. And it really, if we take this podcast has to be so good, people don't flip over to watch Netflix. So we're competing against, the two of us right now are competing against all of the entertainment available to your viewers.
In the world, basically, online.
Right, everything. Are we more entertaining than Pornhub right now? Probably not.
You never know, but
maybe.
I'll be with you on this one.
But so if you think of everything you're doing I don't know, it's quite a silly example, but or an extreme example. But if you think of everything you do or everything you produce from that perspective, then the money will take care of itself. If you've got an audience, if you're providing a value-added service, the money will take care of itself. And I think where it's easy to, and I've done it in the past in previous companies, it's easy to fall in the optimize for revenue at all costs. But it's really optimized for the user. And I know, again, it's a bit preachy and it's a bit, I feel like I'm one of these, I feel like are we selling a marketing course right now? Where you just kind of...
No, we're not.
But you just throw out these kind of stock phrases. So I acknowledge how wanky that sounds. But what we're doing is... So we've got a really tough screening process. So to get on our website means you're a great casino.
Yeah.
Right. So we get... It's never been easier to launch a gambling website. We get a lot of emails every week, people who want to work with us. And we have to politely decline and send them on their way. So to get on our website is a huge step anyway. And then it's not about how much we're getting paid. It's always about the user has selected they want to play slot games and they've got €10 to play with, and the bonuses. So what we do is, for anybody who doesn't realize, every casino or sports betting website has what's called welcome offers or welcome bonuses.
Yeah, for new users.
For new customers, they're very focused on bringing in new customers. So the welcome offer could be something like 50 free spins on this game, 100% match deposit bonus up to €100. What we do is we take all of that and we break it down into its components in our back end. We also read all the terms and conditions, because there's always sneaky terms and conditions.
There is always a catch.
There's no free money in the internet.
Yeah, of course.
Not anymore. And our tool takes all of that. So when you say, I want to play this game and I've got €10, we then calculate from our back end, okay, the best place for you to play are these. And we've ranked them based on how many spins you're going to get or how much value you're going to get for your... So we think in terms of gameplay, how much value you're going to get for that €10. And that's, so it's really a case of the better their offers, the better they're going to be. So the more value we can provide our users, the higher the brand is on our website. So we're fulfilling our promise to play with more, and then the revenue takes care of itself.
Yeah, so I always said that, money is a kind of side effect of passion and drive and so forth. So if you focus on money in like short term, you could be making a lot more. But long term, you'll be always. And
look, you can do all the right things and still be incredibly unlucky. There's always a luck element to these things. Or timing. You could have the world's best idea, but you're just, and I've seen this
too late.
I've seen this happen to me personally. Brilliant idea, 5 years too early. I think in Silicon Valley they call it product market fit. I think that's the new trendy way to say it.
Yeah.
Which is just a polite way of saying, does anybody care? And I thought it was great. All my friends told me I'm great, and that just shows what great friends they are, rather than how great the idea was. But when you test it, nobody gives a shit. So, we've obviously got a proven business model. So we're not kind of reinventing comparison websites or people looking for bonuses. That's proven. We're just doing it. Or trying to
better than others.
Well, look, we're putting our spin on it. I never like to. Our competitors do other stuff that we don't do. There's some great stuff happening out there.
Basically, your own sauce, right? You're doing it like everybody's selling pizza, right? I mean, but you still go to different places. There is your favorite place and so forth.
That's a very
because
good
somebody puts a good spin on it. Maybe there is basilic that they put, or maybe the tomato sauce is a bit different, or maybe it's a nice, support stuff, right? There is always cheerful and positive.
It's the atmosphere, or it's convenient, or but no, look, I think that's a very good way to put it. So we don't really spend a lot of time worrying about our competitors. We know they're good. We know they're working hard. We just really focus on our roadmap and how we think we can bring more value. Because it's also quite easy to end up chasing. So you're like, oh my God, these guys have done that, we should do that. Oh my God, these guys have done that, we should do that. And you kind of end up zigzagging around, and you're chasing a lot of stuff, and maybe it works, maybe it doesn't work, it probably doesn't. So we take take inspiration, but we really focus on our own.
Good. That's amazing. And before we wrap up, so far there's been like really good episode. For me personally, I've learned a lot, and I really thank you for your time. But before we wrap up, what is like, how can I say, what would be the optimal product for affiliate marketing, right? So if my margins are like 2%, maybe it's not very good for affiliate marketing. Or like what kind of product would fit affiliate marketing model the best, or I would say would be, optimized for affiliate marketing? Obviously, we talked about software and so forth, and you mentioned maybe a product that doesn't require a lot of interaction.
That's more looking at it from if I was an affiliate starting out, where would I start out? If I was an advertiser and I had a low margin product, there's still loads of options. And because it's like, if let's say you're selling like TVs and it's got a low margin,
electronics or something, like razor thin margins.
But then you make up for it in volume. But the affiliate is used to that. So the affiliate the affiliates you'll be dealing with will be the guys with millions of users or visitors to their website. So there's a scale, like if you think of it like a Walmart versus your massive supermarket, hypermarket versus your local corner store, they're operating on very different business models. So it's pilot high, sell it cheap versus, we're convenient, so we're going to charge you a bit more. So I'd never worry about what the product, what the industry was or what the product was. It's more about finding the affiliate that, if we go back to the secret sauce, do they have traffic or a community? And can they add value? So it could be the in-depth product review. It could be the comparison. It could be the alerting their new users to there's a deal or there's a discount or whatever the value add. And you'll know it's for your own industry. I'm just trying out some generic ones. You'll know it for your own products in your own industry. But if they're actually adding a value and they have an audience of some description, then it's just a case of, okay, and you've got your conversion funnel tidied up and ready to go, then there's no reason not to do business.
Yeah, but I kind of feel that affiliate marketers are expecting like crazy commissions, and like when I go to aggregate platforms, everybody is competing, for the same publishers, and they're trying to offer as good of a deal as possible.
But if you've got but then it goes back to, have you invested in your brand, right? So you could have, like, if there's, let's say you've got some sort of electronics comparison table, right? So there's there's a Sony, there's a Philips, there's I don't know, I'm thinking TVs in my head, right? So you got a couple of big name brands,
Samsung or LG or something.
Yeah, Samsung, LG, Sony. You've got those three, and then you've got some random Chinese manufacturer names, right?
Yeah.
And the specs are twice as good, the price is 50% less. Are you going to pick any of those, or are you going to pick one of the brands that you know? All right, you're going to be a very brave person to pick one of the brands you don't know or have never heard of, or it's in bad English or whatever it is, right? It looks like a typo. So investing in your brand, investing in your product, have a product that people want. These kind of things as well, you can cut through. You can also cut through in other ways with affiliates, in terms of, it's not like I said earlier on, it's not all about the money. Like, if you can show up with maybe exclusive content, if you've got a marketing department, can they create extra assets or custom landing pages, invite the affiliate to your office, to your store, to your factory. What else can you do that's not your normal, hey, here's a link, here's a banner ad, crack on, that can add value to their users. So you can compete in a lot of ways that doesn't come down to money. That's actually probably relatively easy for the advertiser to do, but could be very hard for the affiliate. So it could be like we'll link to your website.
Yeah, it could be we fly you to our headquarters,
Yeah, exactly.
And give you a private tour, so you get like an awesome video out of it, and so forth.
Meet the CEO, do this, that. Like there's loads of things you could do that's not money related. That builds a relationship, provides value added content or services. Like custom creative works great. Custom landing pages. There's loads you could do that even if you are a smaller brand, you've got a smaller budget, you can definitely outwork the bigger guys.
Yeah. So again, if I sum it up, you have to do your homework and you have to go that extra mile for the affiliates that you work with, because that will go a long way.
Agreed.
So it in the end, everybody's making money. They have to pay salaries and pay bills and all that. But it comes down to a relationship. In the end, if everything else is equal, you will always stick with the advertiser that you've known, who pays on time and treats you well, right?
And don't underestimate cash flow. So if you're an advertiser that pays on 90 days, or you're an advertiser that pays on 7 days, like if you can be a smaller brand and have a huge competitive advantage over your bigger, like don't underestimate an affiliate's cash flow and how important it is. Particularly if they're buying media. It's another. Just do the basics really well. That's the summary.
Yeah, as with everything when it comes to digital marketing, right?
Exactly.
Handle the basics well, and then if you have some time and extra cash, you can do those fancy growth hacking techniques that everybody talks about.
I remember the first time I read growth hacking, and I'm like, I got contacted about a job, and I'm like, what's a growth hacker? And I'm reading through the job description, and I went, oh, it's marketing. Oh, okay, now I understand.
Yeah. So even the growth hackers that actually well known and written books and so forth, they just say like, hey, growth hacking, if we're honest about it, it's 80% you are just doing the boring stuff, but you're doing it really well, and 20% you are just testing more crazy ideas.
That's exactly
that's just basically it, and
it's the day job.
And that's growth hacking. But again, it became sexy, right? And everybody talks
of course,
about,
and we're marketing
growth marketing.
It's great.
Growth hacking and all that, and it looks good in a CV, right? I growth hacked my company to a bankruptcy. So you can always put a nice spin on it,
Sure, brilliant.
Yeah, but Fintan, I just want to say huge thank you. This has been a pleasure. You're such a cheerful and positive person. It's such a pleasure to talk to you, and thank you for your time.
You're too kind.
And again, guys, remember BonusFinder.com. That's Fintan's company. So if you're interested in gambling, want to get most value for your cash. Yeah.
Or look, if you want to connect on LinkedIn, just find me on LinkedIn. Super easy. I also co-host the Gambling Files podcast. So it's an industry-focused podcast as well. But look, always feel free to drop me a note on LinkedIn, say hello. Happy to answer any questions or do any follow-up as well.
Awesome.
Okay.
Great.
Thank you.
And you will find the links in the description box below.
Brilliant.
Thank you very much, Fintan, again.
Thanks,
Thank you.
Cheers.